Hello again, YouTubers. Welcome back to the Board Game Captain. I'm the Board Game Captain.
I'm Lynn.
And we are in the middle of counting down our top 100 games of all time. I'm having a good time with this. So this is our part 3. Part 3. And this is going to be our 80 through 71. Who went first last time?
I did.
You did. So it's my turn to go first? Okay. So without any further ado, we're just going to jump right into it. So my number 80... Oh, and by the way, feel free to go watch the last two parts if you missed them. But my number 80 favorite game of all time is Yamatai. Now, I've been thoroughly enjoying this game. Little spoiler alert, because I think this is going to be coming out before the review for Yamatai. But this is a really fun game. I love the whole mechanic of placing the boats around the islands and getting the right combinations of colors in order to be able to place one of your buildings on that island. And I love the little bit. I love the way the bidding works for getting your turn order and your abilities to use that turn, as well as I love the little the architects you can get for their extra powers. This is just a really fun game. It's very colorful and beautiful too. The board is just absolutely gorgeous, and I've been really enjoying Yamatai. I'm a big fan of Bruno Catala though, so not that big a surprise for me. But yeah, that is my number 80, Yamatai.
My number 80 is Unearth, which we actually got signed by the two dudes.
The two designers. The two dudes. Yes, they're universally known. I don't know if you're aware of this, but Jason Horner and Matthew Ransom are universally known as the two dudes. It's a fact.
Everything's a dude to me. So, even inanimate objects.
Is this a dude?
Yes.
Are you a dude?
Anyway.
Fair enough.
It's a gender-neutral term.
It kind of is now, yeah.
If you grew up in the 90s, dude is gender-neutral.
Go on about that. I was just busting your chops because it was fun.
Anyway. There's dice. You do roll them. Not a lot, though.
Well, it's just sort of like you pick where the die goes and then you roll it to see what number you get.
And then there's you put them on cards to bid for certain colors, and you want matches.
But if you roll low, you also get to get those stones randomly that's one of the coolest things about this game, and I really like this game too. But one of the coolest things is that even if you roll poorly, you still get something, and there's a counter strategy you can do to collecting stones versus cards. Yes. So that is really, really good. So
so this was my number 80.
Number 80 for Lynn, Unearth. So my number 79 is a game that is almost a classic. It's been around for quite some time now because it was originally released way back in the year 2000. So it's a couple years off from being a classic, and this is Torres. And this again goes to the fact that if you make a game about building things, I'm probably going to like it. I love games where I get to build stuff. And this one, you actually build 3-dimensional castles. And this is another game where you're constantly doing multiplication problems in your head, so it actually helps you with math. I reviewed this game. Lynn was mediocre on it. I really like it. I doubt it made your top 100 list. Yeah, it didn't. But it made my top 100 list because I really like Torres. I love the trying to place your knights on the different levels to get lots of points. I love the building of the different castles and trying to get on the same castle with the king. And I just... here's a picture of a game going on. I just really, really like this game. I love the look of it when you're building the 3-dimensional castles. And I love the cards, too, with all their different powers. And that is Torres. And me liking all of those things is why Torres is my number 79 of my favorite games of all time. Torres.
My number 79 is Pingo Pingo.
I love that this made your list.
This is a game that comes with a dart gun with the little sucker on the end.
Oh my god, it looks like a flintlock pistol.
You have to put up little standees around the room, and then you have to run around and shoot the dart gun at these standees while a CD is playing with weird chanting.
Pingo, pingo!
Yes.
Says the CD.
Yes. It's great.
It's so ridiculous.
And it is ridiculous, and it's fun. And
it's silly.
It's silly, and I mean, it gets you doing some cardio.
It kind of does. It kind of does.
Yeah.
Because it's like quickly run and touch that and then touch that, and you run to opposite sides of the room and grab the dart gun and shoot, and it's so silly. I love that you put that on your list. That cracks me up. I didn't think that was gonna make your top 100 list. It's a fun game. It's ridiculously silly fun, but I do love that it actually made your list. So my number 78. This is a brand new game for me. We only have played this about maybe 3 times now, I think, and it's quickly made my list because of its uniqueness in certain mechanics, and that is Mistborn House War. Now, the uniqueness I'm talking about is, one, this is a negotiation game through and through, and the negotiating is really well done in this game and really unique, and it forces player interaction that Lynn doesn't like. She's not a fan of player interaction, but I like player interaction, and I think it's a really cool mechanic. But the other thing that she does agree with me on is the duality of the scoring. So there's this very bizarre thing where you're trying to save the city from being destroyed as long as you think that you have a chance to have the most points. Because if you save the city, the person with the most points wins. But if you think you're going to have a chance to have the least points, you want to let the city burn. Because if the city burns and you have the least points, then you win. And that whole mechanic of there's a chance that I might have the lowest points, so now I'm going to sabotage it and make sure the city burns. That's something you do agree with me on. Because that is awesome in this. It makes you feel like even if you're way, way behind, you have a chance to win. Because you can sabotage everybody else and let the city burn down. And that is freaking awesome. And that's why Mistborn House War, even after only a few plays, has made it onto 78 on my list. This is a game I'm going to ask to play a lot in the future. And I may have to take no for an answer because you don't like it as much as I do. But I'm hoping I get to play this a bunch more. I've been really enjoying it.
Okay, so my number 78 is King of Tokyo. You've already talked about it.
Yes, great game.
Yep, it's press your luck dice, and
obviously you like the press your luck dice games. This is the second press your luck dice game to make your list.
Yeah, there's gonna be more.
There's gonna be more. Okay, you really do enjoy the whole press your luck dice element.
Yeah, I like rolling dice.
You do like dice games a lot. You just enjoy playing the odds.
Yeah.
And pressing your luck, to be fair.
It's just fun to roll dice.
So, all right, fair enough. That's a good game, though. King of Tokyo is a really great press your luck dice game. No argument from me on that. Now, my number 77 is another game that we have owned for less than a year. And we never got it in its previous iteration, but we picked it up in its second edition now, I believe it is. And it has become one of our go-to filler games and our go-to intro-level games, and that is Murder of Crows. This is a delightfully dark, humorous game that I just, you know what? The more I play it, the more I enjoy this game. It's one of those, we played it, and I immediately liked it, but then we played it more and more, and I've liked it more and more as we played it. This is one that is just, it's just really, really fun. And it's one that is a great... it's definitely earned a place in our collection as a great intro level or filler game where basically you're just trying to collect the word murder. But every time you play a card, it gives you a special ability. It might let you draw an extra card, or might let you try to make someone lose one of their cards as they're trying to collect the word murder. And then if you collect the word murder,
it tells a story.
It tells a story on the cards. And that story is always darkly humorous. My particular favorite card is the one where the method of the murder was that someone was mauled to death by a pack of poodles, which is hilarious. But yeah.
Also, it's signed by the dude, too.
It's signed by the artist / one of the co-designers. Which was, let me look for his name written out here, Thomas Denmark. And so this was designed by Thomas Denmark and Eduardo Baraf, who still design games. Actually, they're working, did you hear, they're doing a sequel game to this now.
You told me.
Yeah, it's going to be called An Unkindness of Ravens, I think.
Okay.
And it looks similar, but it's blue instead of red. And you're trying to make unkindness instead of murder is the word you're collecting. I'm going to have to take a look because, you know what, I really do like this game, and I think I'm going to want to try that.
Okay, my 77 Right? That's what we're on?
Murder of Crows was my 77, yes.
My 77 is Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective.
I am surprised. I'm surprised it's this low on your list. Now,
Well,
I know everything on your list is something you
yes.
enjoy, but this was a game when we first reviewed it, you gave this a 9 out of 10. This has dropped for you.
Yeah, it got really hard.
So now, okay, we played the first few adventures together, and then I stopped playing with you because I did not like this at all. I did not like it. I think I gave it either a mediocre or a negative review.
You gave it like a 4.
I did not like this game, but you've kept playing this solo, and I'm surprised. So now, like, okay, originally you gave it a 9. Where are you at with it now?
I'm probably around a 7.
Okay. So you still like it, but it's dropped
like
2 whole stars.
According to its own rules, I've never won, even though I figured out the killer and all that.
Because of
all
the
that
test
jazz,
at the
just
end?
because of the Sherlock figures it out in 4 steps, and I figure it out in 8 steps. So that makes me a loser, apparently, even though I figured it out.
But you're still enjoying playing it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, color me surprised. I thought this was going to be much higher on your list because of how much you raved about it when we first bought it. Okay. Wow. I'm dumbfounded. I really am. Like, I'm so surprised.
Speechless?
I am speechless.
Can't even think now.
I can't. I didn't realize you had grabbed that one until you just said it, and I went, wait, this is this low? I mean, okay, granted, all these are ones we liked, but you just loved that so much. I thought that was going to be in your top 20. Okay, so my next one, which is my number 76 on my top 100 favorite games of all time list, is the game Stay Away. Now, Stay Away, there's a newer edition of this in a bigger box, I think. But Stay Away is kind of like a social deduction game. A lot of people are aware of this genre through the more popular games like Werewolf and Vampire and Alien, and that you play, where you each get one card and it tells you what your role is, and then you got to try to figure out what the roles are of the different people. But this one, it takes that and it makes the mechanics much more game oriented, where this is sort of playing out the game The Thing. And you're passing cards to each other. And the thing is, if you're the thing, you're passing infection cards to the people next to you, which will then infect them, and then they have to help you. And if you're either the thing or one of the infected people, you win if you either turn everyone into infected people or kill everyone. But if you're one of the people who's still not infected, you win if you figure out who the thing is and then hit them with the flamethrower. And this is like, I'm not a fan of a lot of the games in this genre, but I like this game and I like it a lot. Like, it's every time we've played it, it's been super tense. The crosstalk, and again, like, you don't usually get involved too much in the table talk, but the table talk, because you're not a big fan of all that player interaction. But I love player interaction, and for the same reasons why I like Mistborn a lot with all the player interaction, this game forces a lot of player interaction. I really enjoy that. I like it quite a bit, and
it didn't make my list, but I mean.
But you do like it.
Yeah, it's an okay game. I think I've won as both The Thing and as The Last Human.
So you've been actually, even though you don't do a lot of player interaction, you still somehow manage to.
Yeah.
You have won at it a lot. So that is why this is my number 76 out of my 100 favorite games of all time list. Stay Away, which they turn it into a Cthulhu theme. But it's very thin. It's obviously they just couldn't get the rights to do The Thing, which then somebody else did The Thing, the game, which I haven't tried yet. But this is totally like that is an amazing representation of that movie.
I just looked, but I didn't remember. It's like I looked, but I didn't see it. Okay, my 76 is Dominoes.
A classic game.
So I have a little.
I'm surprised.
I'm
surprised this actually made your 100 games of all time list. But you actually really like.
I do.
Dominoes.
I mean, I do really like Dominoes. You just don't like it that much. You think it's kind of boring.
Well, I don't. Okay, I don't dislike Dominoes. I just don't like it as much as you do.
Yeah, and we got a pretty Dominoes set.
We do have a pretty Dominoes set. That is
got
fair.
the Puerto Rican flag on it.
Yeah, well, we bought that in Puerto Rico. Yeah. We got that when we were in Puerto Rico years ago. Okay, so anything to add about Dominoes? Well, I mean, it's a classic game. Everybody knows Dominoes.
Everyone knows what it is. It's just tile laying matching.
You know, I did play this a lot when I was a kid. I did play Dominoes a lot, and I do really like it. And I do occasionally play it with you. Still, even though it's a very old game. So I do like it. I don't dislike Dominoes. Like you said, I dislike it. I don't dislike it. I just don't like it as much as these 100 games.
Okay.
So my number 75 favorite game of all time is a game that makes me sad it's this low on my list, and the only reason it's this low on my list is the components, because this is a game that really screams for wanting to have better components, a bigger board, miniatures. And because of not having all of that, it's this low on my list. Because the game itself, the mechanics are super fun, very enjoyable, and super represent the old school kaiju games in a big way, for me at least. And that is Attack of the Kaiju. Now, this was a game that I really liked the cover art to. I really liked the idea behind it. I really liked the theme. And yeah, and it just, the thing that keeps this from being higher is the low quality of the cardboard components, as well as the tininess of the board, because there's that one side of the board where the spaces are just way too small.
It's funny because usually our complaint is like pieces that are not necessary. Like it has minis when it doesn't need minis, like or it has like a giant board when you didn't really need the board. And this is the exact opposite.
Yeah, this was an underproduced game that I think they would have been better off overproducing it. Like having everything been plastic minis and having a giant extravagant board. I would have much rather that. Because yeah, this is my number 75 and I really do enjoy this game. But like I say, this would have been higher if they'd have done a better job on the components.
Okay, my 75 is Kanani. So I have...
Here comes the big board.
The big chessboard here.
Because we do use the chessboard for it when we play Kanani.
Yeah, use the chessboard. Let me see if I can get the pieces out. Not the chess pieces.
Yeah, we use little glass beads for it.
Yeah, this is one side.
So we use like black and
like a bluish greenish.
Yeah, that we use for playing it. This is a classic Hawaiian game.
Yeah. You fill up all the boxes.
Spaces. Squares.
You fill up all the spaces, then you take out some in the middle, and you have to jump over other pieces, but you can't...
You can only move if you can jump a piece.
Yes, you can only move if you can jump, and if you can't jump anymore, you lose. There we go.
That was all very loud. Now...
This is a very old
thing. But, alright. Yes. Kanani is a very good game. I do agree with... Even though it's a classic game and it's a very old game, this is a game that's got a lot of life in it, and there's a lot of... And
I mean, you don't need to use a chessboard. You can use any size board. You can make it bigger, you can make it smaller.
That's one of the interesting things about Kanani is it can be played... Most people play it on a standard chessboard because that's what they have available these days, but you can play it on any size board, and that's one of the interesting things about it. There's not a set size board for it, which is... Just
the bigger it is, the longer the game and the more... complicated it becomes.
Yeah, and it's all about being able to keep maneuvering if you can. So my number 74, we're down to 74 now. My number 74 of my top 100 favorite games of all time list is Ashes: Rise of the Phoenixborn. Now this was a big release from Plaid Hat Games, who always does amazingly beautiful produced games. And look at the cover art on this game. It is just gorgeous. And this is a 2-player dueling game. It comes with a bunch of pre-constructed decks. Almost feels like something that should be a collectible card game, but it's not. And I don't play collectible card games anymore. I will not play a game if it is a collectible card game. This was a self-contained card game designed by some of the same people and with artwork by some of the same people that did a game we had appreciated earlier from Plaid Hat Games called Dead of Winter. But this I liked a lot better than Dead of Winter. I love the 2-player dueling. We had fun with it. I played it with Alex. I had fun with it with him. It doesn't hit the table as much as I would like because I think I like it better than you do. But I do enjoy it. I like the way the dueling works. I do enjoy I like those heads-up card games. Those heads-up card games are a lot of fun. And that is why my number 74 is Ashes: Rise of the Phoenixborn. We just slide that off for me. So, what do you got?
My number 74 is Island Siege.
Oh, that's a great game.
It's 2 players, right?
Yeah, strictly 2.
It's a little 2-player game.
I think if you buy multiple sets of this, you can play it more than 2 players, but with one set, it's meant to be heads up 2 players.
There's cubes in it. I like games with cubes. There is attacking, but
and there's dice rolling.
Not like there's not a lot of attacking.
You attack each other's forts to try and knock the cubes off with it. That's what you use a lot of the dice rolling for.
Yeah, but it's mainly putting cubes on little boxes on cards.
Which is something you enjoy.
And I do enjoy doing that.
That's a great game. And you know what? That is a game that feels a lot bigger than you would think looking at this tiny little box. Like, because there's actually a lot going on in this game.
There is.
That's a really good game. Very enjoyable. Island Siege. Was your number... What are we at?
74.
That was your number 74. So my number 73, I'm not going to yank it out again, but I'm going to when I edit this, I'm going to try to tone down the volume on that section because you made some really loud noises.
It's not my fault.
It's your fault. So my number 73 though is Kanani. The positional strategy in that game, and I do have a few classics that made my list, and this is one of them. And it's funny because this is a crossover in the same section of our list. We thoroughly agree on the rough area that it should be in our list. But that positional strategy of I need to make sure I have an out. I have a move I can make when it's my turn, but you don't. And that's what you're going for. Because as soon as one player can't make a move, they lose. And it's great. I mean, it's not really about capturing the most pieces. Though that's a part of it because you capture a bunch of pieces. You're taking away moves from your opponent. It's about being able to maneuver. And that's a really cool thing. And that's why I like Kanani so much. And that's why Kanani is my number 73.
Okay, so my number 73 is Artifacts Inc., which, again, you've already talked about.
Yeah, I was lower on my list. But in case they didn't watch that, if you didn't watch that portion, go watch that portion.
It's a dice worker placement game.
Yes.
Where you are an archaeologist and you're using your dice to buy assistance and then find artifacts. You go on my favorite part is the underwater thing where you're
This is a great game.
I can't remember exactly what it is. It's like a certain thing that you have dive. Oh, it's like diving. If you have diving, you can go into this certain pile of cards that you can't do if you don't have diving. Yes.
No, this is a great game. This is one has never gone over flat for us. And we like playing this at 2-player a lot. Mm-hmm. It can play as many as 4, and we've played it at 3 and 4 players. But actually, I think we play this most at 2 players.
Yeah.
Because it's really good at 2 players, and you and I have played it quite a bit. So my number 72 is a big, giant 4X game. And now, okay, so I really like 4X games, and I like this game a lot, and it only doesn't hit the table that often because there is another 4X game that unfortunately is head and shoulders above it. But I like this game enough and have enjoyed playing it enough and would want to play it enough in the future that it's not going to leave my collection anytime soon. And that is...
How heavy is it?
Oh, very. That is Rune Wars. And not the new Rune Wars miniature game. This is the old school Rune Wars 4X fantasy game where you're moving around, conquering a fantasy world, fighting giants and dragons and recruiting all sorts of soldiers and monsters to fight for you while also sending heroes around on quests at the same time. And this is a big, complicated, all-day affair of a marvelous fantasy 4X game. And you're giving me a lot.
No, it didn't make my list.
You've enjoyed this game, though.
There's another one.
There's another 4X game you like better.
Okay.
Oh, what were you going to say?
I was going to say there's another game with Ruin in the title that I like better.
Oh, okay.
That maybe did make my list.
I was thinking there's another 4X game that probably beats that out.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, the thing about 4X games is they're so big and they're so long that generally speaking, you have your favorite that you play a bunch, and then the other ones are sort of just like backups that occasionally see table time. And this one has hit the table for us multiple occasions, just not in a while, unfortunately. But I do really like it.
So my 72 is Zombie Dice.
Another press your luck dice game.
Yes, I like rolling dice.
And you really like those Press Your Luck dice games.
I do.
This is the third one on your top 100 so far. It's the third because you did King of Tokyo, that was in this section, right? Mm-hmm. And then in a previous section of the top 100 list, you did the Three Little Pigs one.
Yeah, there's more. There's at least 2 more that I can think of off the top of my head.
You're a big fan. I didn't, until we did this video, I guess I didn't realize how much of a fan of the whole Press Your Luck dice mechanic you were.
We've never done a list top 10 Press Your Luck dice games.
That's fair. Well, I think we will be doing a top 10 dice games list. But why do you like Zombie Dice more than King of Tokyo?
I think because it's quicker and there's less stuff.
It's just more straight to the point.
Yeah, it's like a quick like palate cleanser game. I would call it, like between 2 bigger games where
a filler game.
Yeah. So you can just play a couple rounds of this and then you can dive into a heavier game. Where King of Tokyo, well, it's not a heavy game.
It's a midweight.
You can't really
it's heavier
do
than
that.
This,
yeah, that King of Tokyo would be one of those games on either side of that.
That's fair. That is fair. So my number 71, and this is the final game on this part of my list here. My number 71 is a game that is as beautiful as it is fun. It has a storybook element and is one of my favorites, if not my very favorite, of those storybook adventure games, and that is Near and Far. And this is a game that weighs a ton because I've got the Kickstarter components in here. But this game is just awesome. I love that there is the main board is a book in a spiral book. And there are a whole bunch of different boards that you can flip to play, and each one is very different. You can play a campaign of stories, or you can play one-off games with this. There's 2 different ways to play campaigns in this, and it's got a mixture of exploration, as well as worker placement, as well as adventure book, all in this tight package. There are very few things I don't like about this game. Generally speaking, I really enjoy Near and Far, and actually, if anything I've talked about with my brief description of this game sounds interesting to you, this is one you should check out. This is a really well done game. This is one of my favorites from Ryan Lockett at this point. I think it's a phenomenal, really good game, and that is why it is my number 71 favorite game of all time.
My number 71 is Phantom Society.
Oh God.
It's a memory-based game.
Yes, it is.
So that's why he hates it. One person places the ghosts around the house, and the other person is the ghost hunter that needs to figure out where they are. I believe one time you accused me of cheating because I was so good at being both the ghost and the ghost hunter.
It's possible I may have done that. I'm not certain.
It just turns out I'm really good at memory.
Yeah, I may have. This game frustrates me to no end. I just don't like it. I do not like it. And you know what? I will, on rare occasions, play this game with you. But the thing is, this game brings out horrible emotions in me. So, like, I never enjoy playing it, and I'll do it only because you like it so much.
Yeah.
And I do it sparingly. 'Cause I know you like it a lot, and I'm not surprised it's made your top 100 list.
It's memory, and if you place the ghosts, it's purely memory. You just have to remember where you put the ghosts. If you are the ghost hunters, it's
deduction.
It's memory, and it's also deduction.
Yeah. But I just don't like it. But that's fine. And I know you like this one a lot. And that's just another one of those perfect examples of how not every game is for every person. Because that game is obviously so for you, but really not for me. I mean, we've had a lot of games like that on this list so far that were vice versa, that were really for me, but not for you. But there you have it. That is our part. What is this, 3?
I believe so.
We did it was the 100 to 91, then 90 to 81. Yeah, this was our part 3. Whoops. Our part 3 of our top 100 favorite games of all time list, 80 through 71. So if you're enjoying this, be sure to stay tuned for our part 4 coming soon. And if you're enjoying it, be sure to give it a like, share it on any forms of social media you have. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Board Game Captain. That's Kaptain spelled with a K on YouTube. And also comment down below and tell us what you thought of our choices in this installment of our top 100 games of all time list. And tell us what are some of your favorite games of all time. And until next time, game on.